Welcome, everyone. This is Polly Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Guarendis,
Hello, everyone.
Kilabathian,
Good evening.
Erendis,
Everybody.
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. We're all here together.
Yay, Krister's back.
Woohoo!
Whee!
I couldn't cheer myself, but sorry about that.
Let us then go into our game news this week. We have update 26.1, which was released on Wednesday, the 13th. And this included, first, for class updates, we had on the Captain, the Blade of Elendil and improved Blade of Elendil skills are now improved by the Light type damage legacy. And as for Hunters, there's a much bigger list for Hunters. Hunter DPS is being brought up. Skills that were lagging behind received a large boost, including melee, traps, and secondary bow skills. Improved penetrating shots mitigation debuff magnitude has been reduced slightly, but now applies to tactical mitigation as well as physical mitigation for greater group utility. Dazing blows cooldown has been reduced from 60 seconds to 20 seconds. Low cuts cooldown has been increased from 5 to 10 seconds, and its base area of effects targets has now been reduced from 7 to 5. Set traps cooldown and induction have been reduced from 60 to 45 seconds and from 2.5 to 1 second. Well, that's nice. Most bow skills damage have been increased. Damage on all melee and traps has been increased greatly. Most hunter melee attacks now generate focus. On blue line huntsman, scourging blows bleed removal now does heavy additional damage around 2 to 3 pulses of barbed arrow. Split shot now costs 2 focus and had its induction reduced to 1 second. Split shot's damage has been greatly increased. Redline Bowmaster, upshot's cooldown has been reduced from 20 to 15 seconds, but the crit reduction trait now only removes 1 second per crit rather than 2 seconds. Heartseeker's base cooldown has been reduced to 50 seconds. Sans, you remember what it was before?
Really long.
Okay.
I feel like it was like 2 minutes, but I don't remember if that was before or after I applied something with a cooldown to it.
Okay, that long. All right. Shelob
Yeah, it did have a really long cooldown. I remember that.
Shelob set bonus now reduces Heartseeker's cooldown by 15 seconds. Rain of Arrows has had its cooldown increased from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. Its damage has been increased, and its focus cost has been increased from 3 to 5. Hail of Arrows no longer resets Rain of Arrows instantly, and instead reduces Rain of Arrows cooldown by 2 seconds for each crit scored with Rain of Arrows. This means that the firing on larger groups of enemies can result in a faster skill cycle. The 30-second cooldown for a Hail of Arrows has been removed. For the yellow line, the line where I find myself in usually, Triple Trap has had its cooldown reduced from 60 to 45 seconds. Haven't had a chance to check out Triple Trap yet. Lingering Wound now costs 2 focus, and its instant damage has been increased. Rain of Thorns has had its cooldown reduced from 180 seconds to 60 seconds. Its damage has been substantially increased, and its raid set bonus has been reduced from 60 seconds to 15 seconds. Tripwire has had its cooldown reduced from 60 seconds to 30 seconds. The One Trap has had its cooldown reduced from 60 seconds to 45 seconds, and its instant damage has been increased greatly. The One Trap now costs 3 focus. Piercing Trap has had its cooldown reduced from 60 seconds to 45 seconds and now costs 1 focus. Explosive Arrow has had its cooldown reduced from 30 seconds to 10 seconds, and Decoy has had its cooldown reduced from 60 seconds to 30 seconds, so I can get those dummies out. And as for Runekeepers, Do Not Fall This Day tooltip now reflects that it works on non-fellows. And for Wardens, Ranged Unerring Strike now applies a damage over time effect, and the assailment trait Barbed Javelins now works properly. And as for items, Took in the Hole and its Banquet version now have matching effects. Sticky Apple and its Banquet version now have matching effects. Scrolls of the Minas Ithil Guard will no longer share usage cooldowns with Battlelore scrolls. Legendary items visual effects can once again be seen by other players. As for PvP, the item Crumbly Insignia should no longer cancel weapon chains and honey lozenges. And as for quests and adventurers in the Anvil of Winterstith, a Bone of Vethu Wintermind will now spawn after he is defeated to assist players with the quest The Anvil of Winterstith. Rimmerchant, the Net of Darkness, the number of ads that spawn during the Zalsulin, the Massive Encounter, has been reduced. The Enraged timer for Ruhor the Pale Herald has been increased from 10 to 15 minutes, and the damage of Freed Fell Beast Shadow's Breath attack has been reduced. In the Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves, the campfire that gets built during Chapter 2.2 now lights properly without regard to the time of day. I'm not completely sure what that's supposed to mean, but that's another matter.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice an issue with that when we got to that particular instance, but okay. I mean, it was coming on to dusk when we got there, so...
Baby. In the Vales of Wandering, a mistakenly buried treasure cache has been unearthed. And for the quest...
Now if they could do that with the mobs, that would be great.
The quest for Sundergrot, mining sappers, has been reworked to correct an issue where the sappers that players were unable to pick up and others that players were able to pick up multiple times. It is a quest. If the quest is currently underway, it will need to be restarted. In the Shire, fix some hobbits in the Shire that were partially invisible. Those sneaky hobbits. Yes. Lothlorien.
Stop making them all burglars.
Yeah. In the quest, Lothlorien Preparations 3 can now be cancelled. In Central Gondor, Peligir instance Peligir's confrontation. Players should be able to get back into the boss fight if they are defeated during the fight, then return to the instance. And in Far Anorian, a perilous parley fixed an ambush during the quest that often didn't trigger. As for reputation, Men of Dale travel skills now require acquaintance reputation standing instead of friend.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that was an annoyance with Men of Dale, having to get all the way up to friend. And as for UI, custom trait configuration names can now be up to 20 characters in length.
Yay!
And
For people who actually name their trait trees, but I always name my trait trees.
And various misnomers for trait configurations have been modified in the trait tree panel. I guess because I always use one word, I think. Probably one of the reasons for it is because they gave you so few letters to use. Alright, and some text is not being translated into French is a known issue. That is it for Update 26.1 release notes. Anyone have anything they wish to say about Hunter updates or anything else in this update?
I'm enjoying the Hunter updates so far, except for like the Hunter boxers on the moors. Those aren't so much fun.
Yeah. We really need some more updates on the moors, the monster play.
The ability to break out of stealth. Out of stuns and like pot things without having to use pots.
Something.
But as a hunter, it has been so much fun to set traps and demolish mobs. I ran Yellow Line at 130 and at level 30, and had a blast both times, just going through and causing explosions and havoc and fun, and the traps did damage, and it was totally worth using melee skills, and it was fun.
Explosions and fire are always fun.
True.
Except for when they're directed at you. I mean, that's not as fun.
I mean, yeah, no, that's never as fun as setting it off yourself. But so far I've enjoyed the hunter changes.
All right, then. I should also note that we did have the start of the secret event, and I had forgotten what secret event was code for, and that is, this thing that I'll never finish. So,
Wait, what?
the secret event is like,
Yeah, the surprise thing. So you remember that one treasure thing that we picked up and then we didn't do?
Kinda?
Erebor?
Yeah.
Like, it was this glowing page and stuff.
Yeah, like forever ago.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with that. But I don't know because we didn't do it.
Apparently, there's a whole quest line that was released a couple weeks back. They said that there was a surprise coming on May 13th. That it's an entirely new quest line connected to some other stuff that I'm not going to say because spoiler.
right. So yes, it is a special hidden quest line, and if you want spoilers to it, you could find them on the forums if you wish to follow the clues that way, or you could stumble into it. I think there may be some prerequisites for doing it. Like you had to do the last surprise quest line first. So as I said, if you want to get into it, you could check around on the forums if you need any help. Then let's head into the LOTRO Beacon, issue 160, where it looks like somebody is fighting a warg.
That is what it looks like.
Who would ever do such a thing?
I know. And Terry Adwin wouldn't fight a warg. She would be the warg, right?
Well, Terry Adwin fights wargs.
Okay,
but
you're right.
Terry Flips, you know.
That's an interesting warg skin, though. That's a Gundabad warg, right?
Yeah, I think
I believe so.
Or Floodfell's warg, or what they're called, Gundabad or Floodfell's.
Yeah,
They do under the wargs in those places, man. That is the warg in me. Killian is just horrified. It's like, what the heck?
Looks like a cross between a warg skin and a poodle.
It does. Warg.
The poodle wargs of
The poodle
Gundabad.
warg.
It's a parg.
It's a parg. Better than a porg? I mean...
Well, we might be looking at this as a scene of violence, but this might actually be how you teach a warg to play fetch. You just need to have a...
You know, it actually does kind of look like he's waiting for him to throw something so he can go get
Throw
it.
Throw it!
Oh,
Okay, buddy, you got to bring this one back. You can't just drool all over this. This is my favorite shield. Now bring it back.
Combination Kong and Shield. That would be awesome.
Playing fetch with the warg. Let's head into our community spotlights. Dodaka is organizing a LOTRO stream for more Tolkien Day in Germany. You could click on the link to read more about that. Fibro Jedi is working on a guide to mounts purchased with Mithril. And Northern, a guide to mounts purchased with...
Old festival mounts.
So
Yeah,
these are all the festival mounts that require Mithril in order to get them. All right. And then Northern Pride is an Evernight-based band that has released a new music video. Click on the link to see that. And Sergeant Dastan is a Brazilian LOTRO streamer streaming regularly on Twitch and YouTube. You could click on the link to find him on Twitch or click on him to see him in YouTube. And as for the kin hall, Durin's Folk is one of the oldest Dwaro role-playing kinships on Laurelin. This kinship has a long legacy dedicated to Dwarf Folk community and have their own website and Discord. You click on the link to check out their website and learn more. Remember, this is on Laurelin. Now comes our weekly comment. What modern
Awesome weekly comment. Sorry.
What modern convenience does Middle Earth need?
Need. I lost the need. Indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it. These fish that I have caught when I was hanging around Lake Town recently, and I don't want to eat them.
Right?
I don't even want to send it to my cook. The ones that I can.
I know it's like, well, and we actually talked about this quite a bit back when Sandswinda and Pineleaf and I were questing in that area. That's the place where you really don't want to fall in the water because it would not end well.
Ah, yes. There's a cholera epidemic in Lake Town.
Forget the Great Plague.
That's right. Who needs...
I mean, you don't need Lyrath. You just need some water from Lake Town.
Yes. Right.
So would a modern convenience also be considered chocolate?
Yes, probably.
Then Middle Earth definitely needs some chocolate.
Think of all the happy hobbits.
Not just the
Chocolate
hobbits.
smeared all over their face.
Ooh, imagine how quickly Volume 1 would go if you had a cell phone that you could talk to Elrond. Like instead of having to go back to him every single time, just put that guy on speed dial.
You need to go back and talk to Elrond. Okay. Let's FaceTime this boy.
He probably gets good reception where he is. I don't know.
Yeah. Rivendell has the best reception. Spoiler for what Guer got up to this week, but I was in Felaggoth and there is a quest that mentions a Discord, and I'm like, what? Thranduil has a Discord? Where's the...
Well, if the Palantirs weren't so corrupted, they could use those. You could use those as iPhones, basically. You know, talk about FaceTime.
That would be awesome.
Skype.
I'm a fan of introducing toasters into Middle Earth because I have an idea for a Limbus tart, and then I also have an idea for Lego my Eggo with Legolas as the representative. I think it would be huge.
Yeah, So far we have cell phones, chocolate, and indoor plumbing seem to be the
And the toaster.
One. What?
Toaster.
And toaster. Yes.
Don't forget the toaster.
Toaster. Genius.
Well, that means then you'd also need the electricity if you're going to have a...
Yeah, and basically that's just a hobbit on a bicycle, you know. So then that's how you rate it as well. How many hobbits?
Hamster power.
Hobbits replace watts.
Oh, I could just imagine that I thought you'd have a runekeeper there sending in sparks into the thing once in a while to get electricity.
Oh, that could distract them away from the moors.
This is true. Let's do it.
Yes, we'll give all those fulguritic runestones a place to go and do their work away from the moors. I like this.
There you go. You'll take care of two problems in one fell swoop then.
Yeah, I'd say something about, fell two birds with one stone, but then we'd be getting lore masters into it, and let's not go that far.
It's bad enough when you mix lore masters with bears.
Anything else someone wishes to suggest before we go into the fan site news?
Okay, I do have one thing
All
for
right.
Terry. So since the trait lines have expanded to 20 characters now, do you name your trait lines by like poetically, or are they by your mood? Do you have like blue mist and or blue steel? There we go, blue steel.
No, actually, I have always named my trait lines based on the character's personality and what the trait actually does. So, like for instance, Terry's red line is, I think it's all the damage, and the yellow line is all the things, and the blue line is in the face.
Nice.
Or something to that effect. I know Lashillian, my runekeeper, is her red line is actually named the same thing as her volcanic runestone, which is foosh, which is the sound that the fire makes. And so the healing line is just called heals, even though her runestone is named Sparkle Heals. But the yellow line is named the thing that I couldn't actually name the runestone because I couldn't get the runestone to stick around long enough to name it Zzzt. So the runestone is actually named Zot, just a ZOT though, not the same as Gwer's runekeeper. But the actual trait line is Zzz.
That sounds appropriate.
With that, let's enter the fan site news. We'll begin with LOTRO Vogue finds a star in the darkness, and you could check out that new outfit. And any comments on this, Terry?
Nope, I did look at it. It was nice, but it's a little difficult to attain.
A little difficult to attain. One of
it requires
curator
a curator and some figments. Also, the airborne barter is not exactly easy to come by.
Scavenger Hunt Year 7 reward. Yes, you need to have proceeded a bit far into everything in order to get that one. Then, last week we found a horse named Lalia. Then LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Too Old to Game debuts his show. Red Baron wanders into Evernight, and the Sky Manic journeys on Arkenstone. Also on Twitch, Corey Olsen explores the text, Bloodborne raids on Remerhat, and Nasty Shkan hangs out and chats. And over on YouTube, Zagog helps the Eagles, Cyber Knight quests, and Frayed Sanity chills at Radagast's cottage.
No wonder his sanity is
overrun one? Like with spiders everywhere? Ew.
well, no wonder his sanity is frayed.
And for our screenshot of the week, oh my, that sounds like quite a screen. This looks like someone brought up the menagerie. Let's see. Ranmac, the hunter, runs into Fanfare, the lore master, in this week's screenshot. Thanks, Ranmac, for sending in this week's screenshot. Submit your screenshot by sending it to contact@standingstonegames.com. And that is it for the weekend this week. So, Terry, what's on sale?
So, the weekly coupon gets you a free die, the Heirloom Blue, with coupon code Heirloom Blue, now through May 21st. Our bonus days this weekend are 25% XP. It's Welcome Back weekend. It's also our final weekend to do the anniversary event because that is done with on the 20th, and 25% off character slots, vet status, stat packages, and XP boosts now through May 21st.
Then let's head into our new player question. And who has the question this week?
I do. My question is it better to stack physical mitigation or tactical mitigation or a little bit of both? And does it depend on the class you play?
Krister, what do you say about that?
I would say it's better to stack both, and especially to hit your percentages depending on what type of armor, light, medium, or heavy that you're using. Definitely depends on which class you play, of course, because that can dictate your armor level, and that, of course, can dictate the percentage you can max out at. But definitely, for instance, for the Remember Chant, very, very, very good to have your tactical and physical mid both together up high. But if you're planning on raiding, you really want to work on maxing those out as well, or at least having a switch out, a swap set that gives you that too. So my captain, even though he plays in redline most of the time, he still plays redline with his raid gear on when he's raiding because he still needs the defense.
Yeah, a lot of times it depends on not only the class you're playing, but what you're doing. So if you can go one way or the other and are good with having lots of extra spare gear that you're only going to use on certain occasions, spare sets are great. I typically try to focus on both as much as possible. Sometimes, too, it depends on what way the game is balanced, because the balance will shift occasionally. So sometimes you need more physical mitt than tactical mitt, and then they'll shift it back. Because with the various class changes and stuff, they're always tweaking something.
There is that.
Yeah, and of course, with each new adventure, that all can fluctuate too. You might, or in every encounter in that raid, for instance, you might need physical mitt more on the first boss and tactical mitt more on the second.
Right.
And the other thing you want to look at, like, not just what you stack on your gear, but you might look at what you already have, because some classes will naturally have more physical mitigation or more tactical mitigation. And so to max that, you'll need less of that stacked on your gear. And you'll want to focus more on the one that you don't usually have. So, like, my minstrel has a pretty easy time getting her tactical mitigations because she gets them from various sources just by being a minstrel. But she's got to pay attention to making sure she has enough physical mitigation. Whereas, right, or never get hit, but you get hit. Especially if you're going to do something like raiding. On landscape, she doesn't really worry about it at all. Because she runs behind a guardian and most things never hit her. But then, like, my heavy armor classes, or my hunter, who's just a little bit heavier armor, because medium, tends to have better, like, getting physical mitigation naturally from the, just the armor value adds to your physical mitigations. So, then they focus a little bit more on trying to add tactical mitigations to even them out. And you can see all of this on your character sheet under C. At the very bottom. You might have to show all stats. It's a little checkbox at the top. But it'll show you where you're at, and if you hover over it, it'll tell you, like, what percentage of mitigations you have on level against on-level mobs. Yes. Which is what we're talking about when we talk about percentages.
Right, I look at my stat sheet. It says, your physical mitigation is 50,000. Your tactical mitigation is 10.
Right. And then if you hover over that, it'll tell you like what percent
Yeah.
that is. And so like each type of armor maxes out at a different percent. I want to say that light armor is like 40%, and
Yeah, that's right.
one of them is 60%,
Heavy.
and I'm not sure what the other one is.
50%. So it should be
50%.
yeah.
So it should be 40, 50, 60.
Yeah.
And that probably goes light, medium, heavy.
Is this going to be for just the like the regular, character side and not monster play, or is it different from monster?
That's just character side.
Monster side, you can still see these stats, but to get physical or tactical mitigation, you're going to need to invest in the corruptions.
Well, yes, I just
or
mean like,
traits
is
that
that going to
increase
be more dependent on class? Because I know wargs, they do need the physical and the tactical at the very least, but like I was told, the spiders, you need to kind of gear them up like lore masters and really, go all out on mitts for the spiders, but you don't necessarily do that for the wargs. And so is it?
Yeah. But it depends on what you're after, because we only have so many places to stack our corruptions. And so you'll want like a balance of offense and defense for your warg, because our main goal is to do more damage quickly and get out. If your main goal is to stay alive, stack the defensive ones. I mean, you could stack 6 physical mitts and 6 tactical mitts, but you'll probably want some critical defense and some other stuff in there too. Like
I just,
resistance.
yeah, I just, I guess with spiders being glass cannons, you want as many mitts as possible, especially tactical.
Yes.
Just because they are very squishy.
Well, and the mitigations protect you from different things.
Mhm.
So if you find that you are always being killed by a minstrel or a runekeeper, up your tactical mitigations. If you find you're always being killed by the champion who runs past, you probably need to up your physical mitigations. If you're always being killed by both, maybe up both and make sure you stay away from them or have disappear off cooldown when possible.
Yeah, I was about to say, because this is the Moors we're talking about, and, one free person can kill like 7 of us. So,
I know, there's no good way to stack it for the monster characters right now. But on the Freep side, they can stack against all of us and actually cap out all their mitigations. So that's one of the other reasons that it's so hard to kill them.
Okay, I was just wondering it, since it's a new player question, that because I know it's okay. Here's how you do it for here, and that's what our main focus is. But anyone who does want to get in a monster play, since we mention it a lot and we do it a lot, it's going to have something to do there too. And I didn't know if it was similar or different. It actually is based on more on class for monsters versus free people, or what.
Anyone else have anything else they wish to add? Then let's continue on with the week in LOTRO. Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, Terry Adwin finished out the dwarf story so far. By which I mean the newest epic tale that is Doran's Folk versus Gundabad thing. Kind of the 2 prologue-ish chapters that we get, which was fun. And along the way, we kind of stumbled into a couple of pop-up quests, and one of them led to us going up into this encampment that was full of trolls, which she slaughtered with great abandon and much glee. Oh, there's a troll! Wasn't waiting for everybody else. Also, because I don't think it's in Pine Leaf's highlights, and it definitely needs to be said, we discovered that Rose should really be followed whenever possible.
Somehow I don't think Pine Leaf would highlight that.
Because we had a ring on the map, and there's an arrow pointing to the ring, and I looked at the actual map, and I'm like, okay, well, it looks like the road goes this way, and will get us there. And Pine Leaf Sans and I mount our war steeds and we're taking off, and I noticed Pineleaf's dot isn't with us. And I said, "Where are you, Pineleaf?" "Oh, I'm going to go overland." "Really?" "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get there faster."
Well, we got a bit
died.
separated there, and I didn't feel like finding them. And this is when I should
Pineleaf
learn.
died.
Yeah.
Because Pineleaf was running overland and got outnumbered.
Pineleaf
And
tell us how
I
this
died
happened,
because I
though.
forgot about sacrifice. That's why I died there. Because if I had sacrifice on, I would not have dismounted because, like, my horse was made of paper.
Yeah, but you know what? If you'd stuck with the group, you'd have had backup.
Oh, but I was far from the group by the time I realized you guys had left.
Anyway, needless to say, we discovered that roads are a thing. So now every time we're traveling somewhere, I yell, "Roads, Pineleaf!"
Well, you got to remember, I've been dealing with Sans Window all these years, so I could never convince to use a road.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed that I was actually on the road. I was like, wait, am I on the road? I am on the road. Okay, I guess we're taking the
Sans
road.
was on the road because Sans was following me. I have a tendency to use roads whenever possible. Because I don't actually like hacking my way through the brush. My sword is made for hacking enemies, not wildlife. Or,
This sword
various...
was made for hacking.
Oh, well.
That's right. But yeah, so we went into the troll camp and we're killing all of the things, which was funny because there was a boxer in there that was, I guess, farming trolls. I don't know what they were doing. They were farming something. And we had no trouble taking out all of those things. In fact, I kind of ran around and gathered everything up, and then I shing-shinged them all down in Redline, which is a lot of fun, because then you get the shing-shing plus all of the bleeds and the crits and stuff from Redline. It's very nice.
All right. So what are these complaints that I've been hearing on Cord's Friday night stream about champions not having any survivability?
I have no idea, but because I have no trouble surviving as a champion. In fact, I made it a point to try killing stuff away from the rest of my group so that it was definitely me doing the damage and not the warden and the hunter that I'm following. Or escorting, I should say. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about champion DPS right now on landscape versus on level mobs. I don't have any problems whatsoever with Terry.
Yeah, you kill everything 3 times faster than I do and last 2
I
times longer.
do.
My ward cringes when I see a champion coming. So
that's because Sanswinda and Terry sparred once, and Sans cheated and ran away from me.
You'd run too if those swords were coming down over your head.
Sniped from a distance because cheater.
Hunter.
Sarissa did some more work on the scavenger hunt. She has not finished year 3 trifles because instances are hard, but she did get year 3 done. So I managed to do all of the lower level instances. Anything like 65 and up, she's not going to be able to solo on a Berg because burglar. If it was a champion, it would probably be a different story, but burglars are kind of squishy. But she did actually finish out year 4 with no problems whatsoever. She did a little bit of skirmishing with Calabathian's Celeborn, and actually he finished volume 2 with her assistants because they did all the skirmishes together, which was fun.
Indeed, yes.
And then, so she's on to year 5. And I also picked up Well-Dressed Killing Machine this week, and he's made it further into Angmar. He finished out everything in Ochair. Well, most everything. He didn't go into like the fellowship type areas because he's actually underleveled for the zone. So speaking of champion DPS at that level, I'm actually okay with that too, because he's underleveled and slaughtering everything, and not really having any issues whatsoever with DPS. And because he's up by the dwarf area briefly and did a couple of those quests, running around and getting stuff and bringing it back, and he did the little defense of Gabble's Shather that you can do, which was great fun running around after dwarves. And then he got up to Gas Force Near, and he was at Gas Force Near at level 40, I want to say 43 or 44. And, that stuff up there is closer to 50. And those mob names were orange and red, and he was taking them on with no problems whatsoever. A little bit of problem when he got into the Circle of Despair, because stuff just was annoying, when you get outnumbered by 3 or 4 things. But, yeah, not too bad. Calabathian, how about you?
Well, my main Calabathian attempted to complete the anniversary instances, but the twins stymied her by being the twins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have to name them, and you got to know who I'm talking about, and you know where I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
They wound up chasing the last big boss, basically to the side, and then aggroing it so that he stayed there away from the rushing water. I could not draw him where he needed to be because of the twins. And I was just like, really? I'm going to have to do all this over again because y'all two could not keep your head, and it's like you're not listening to me? Okay. If we're going to play that, I'm leaving. Okay. I'll just do it later. But my Berg, Morkindir, fiddled around in Bree, and in doing so, I decided to take a picture of the darkest assassin in the world returning to Bree, which led to conversations about future photo ops of his antics in Middle-earth. I'm not sure how that's going to go, considering I had him, in his Plague-Bearer outfit and riding on his hobby horse into Bree, but he is the darkest assassin in the world. The adventures of, so maybe forthcoming, who knows. And my ward Killian helped take down a rank 15 hunter in the moors with his pack today, and the noms were delightful. They really were. We weren't even at full strength as our pack, and we were like, oh hey, he's up on the rooftop like a reindeer. And so, a couple of us jumped up there, and our third couldn't actually make it to the roof, but we kind of clawed and bit and roared, and he fell off the roof, and then we all three jumped on him, and it was great. I also spent some time, I don't know if you would call it, being a warg on the moors. More than once, one of the enemy would run within distance of me, leaping, and they couldn't see me because I'm invisible. And they stood there, and I'm thinking, should I or shouldn't I? And then they whistle for their mount, and I'm like, oh, heck yes. So I leap at them as soon as, literally, they are just on their horse, and I leap at them and knock them off, and then I disappear and run. Because that's hilarious.
I have been funny.
Yeah, I've been hanging around with y'all too long, I guess, on the moors, because I'm doing some mean stuff out there.
It's really never not funny. It's hilarious. Every time.
And you have to disappear and run because they'll kill you in seconds if you don't.
Yeah,
you've got 2 seconds to get out of there, or you're dead.
You can only really do it if your disappear is on cooldown. But
yeah, see that was what happened on the second time for me. Was I tried to disappear and pop that disappear and run. And I knew that there were a whole bunch of people with him, but he was kind of alone as they were running ahead, and he whistled and I pounced him, and then all of a sudden they just came at me as I was trying to run and disappear, and I disappeared and someone had hit me. I bled and came back, and yeah, it was death, but it was a hilarious death. I was laughing. I laughed all the way to the graveyard.
Well, you can't just
disappear.
You have to disappear and run away as fast as you can.
I disappeared and started running, but I guess they had hit me before, or right as I was doing it, because all of a sudden I popped out of I was visible suddenly, and I couldn't pop it again because it was on cooldown.
Oh.
And I was just trying to run, and I didn't get far. But that's okay.
Sometimes you can sprint away from them, but sometimes they have hunters and minstrels and innkeepers and burglars and stealth who can riddle you without showing themselves.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Oh yeah, and if they pull you out of stealth and then stun you, you're just done.
You might as well just let down and die like a mini.
Yeah, just hold still.
So, Arindis, how about you? What was your week like?
Oh gosh. Well, I had a light week this week due to some real life stuff. The only thing I was really able to do in game was some Calabathian. I'm not sure what the technical term is either. I'm saying warging at this point. In that Morse, though I did miss out on the jump on the rank 15 hunter, which is disappointing. But maybe one day, we'll never know. Krister, how was your week this week?
Well, I have a nickname in my kin, and it's Incompacrister, and this is a testament to what. Really, my kin's been working through. We've been drilling slowly through Remmerchant. We finally have consistently started to defeat the fire on boss 1, which was a real nightmare for us for a while. And last night, we got the 2 daughters down and got the boss down to 2/3 before we finally had died enough for the night and called it a night. But that was real progress, so that was great. I got a vacation coming up week after next, where I am finally going to address being banned from Harwick, and I'm going to get that cleared up. My kin also has a group of bears that started leveling together from level 1 to level 130, and we're going to have our 5-year anniversary celebration coming up.
Oh, fun.
We actually ran into you guys.
Isn't it awesome? What I love about it is we have these, 5, we can sometimes have 5 or 6 bears in this group, and I think it's hysterical to see this bear pack lumbering along, especially when we're swimming. I think that would just scare everybody.
Yeah, you guys showed up and we're like, "Oh, bears!" And I was like, "Oh, those are our bears."
Actually, no. What happened in the chat was we ran into this town and there were bears, and I was like, darn it, bears. And then it was, oh, wait, I know those bears. Terry Edward is never happy to see the bears.
Well, it's one of the funnest things for us to do is all 5 of us to get around a mob and then go all into the, where we stand upright and start clawing. And you just feel sorry for anybody that's caught in the middle. That would just be the worst way to die, I think. But during our raid last night, to my eternal shame, we were doing ready checks and everything. And of course, I wasn't paying attention. This window comes up and I hit accept or I hit ready is what I thought I hit. But our former kin leader, who's come back into the game, had sent a request to be my father as opposed to a raid request. So now he's vowed to wear that title whenever he sees me. And so I'm trying to emancipate myself through the pre-courts currently. And that's all I've got for Indies. How was your week?
Let's see. For the middle of the week, the Yellow Line Hunters launched a lot of fireworks. Some of them skills, some of them were things that we were blowing up that were to test the new Yellow Line changes, and we both got the Master Blaster title. My Lightning Arcade with the group I run usually on Saturday nights is also now a Master Blaster, much to my amusement, because I think a Lightning Arcade should have that. She already had the Firecracker title, now she has Master Blaster. As far as my main Gorindus, I got to figuring today after my jaunt through Ithilien, and I think by Tuesday I will have finished the Master Herbalist deed and have the title and the horse. And then I'm not going to go back to Ithilien for a while unless I just want to ride around in a pretty place and not get attacked by anything. As far as Mordor goes, I completed the quest of Gorgoroth earlier this week. And the only thing left now is, the 20 million deeds to kill everything and find treasure chests, and yeah.
Exactly.
I still have all of those to go, but I have moved on to Gorindis's home territory. I've been questing out of Felagoth as of today and really enjoying it. More reports on that in the future. Since Swinda, what did you get up to this week?
Well, as Terry said, we finished the new epic book so far on Sanswinda, and I continued helping the Bjornings on Amalora. The two have crossed paths now, so that's kind of fun. with different groups, of course, on different nights, but they're going through the same places backwards, and it's fun. And then I ran through Osgiliath with the field trip, and that was pretty fun. And we made it to Minas Tirith for reals. And then our hunter reported us back to Osgiliath so that we could finish the Osgiliath stuff.
Shame you
We'd
couldn't have seen
accidentally-
it better days.
Right? We'd actually accidentally made it to Minas Tirith before we finished Osgiliath. But that was a lot of fun running through Osgiliath with the field trip crew, and it feels pretty good to be in Minas Tirith, and we're at level 105, so I suggested we go pick flowers and was voted down quickly. But it was good. Need to start working on Minas Tirith dailies, though, so I guess unlocking those is next. And then I went warging and nommed lots of things. Some things we got commendations for nomming. Other things we did not get commendations for nomming, even though they died later. But it was a lot of fun. And I definitely prefer to not be on the road with my work. Pineleaf, how was your week?
For my week, I'll begin with my Honor Warden, where I finished up the rebuilding of Hootbold. So now it's a much prettier looking town than it was than when I started.
Yeah, it's really nice when it's all done.
Yep. So I finished all of that up, but I have not run the final instance yet, because that final instance I'm saving until I finish up the Sucross. I think I have about the finish up instance in the Sucrofts, so maybe one or two quests, and that final instance I think is all I have left in the Sucrofts. Then I can get back to Hootbold, appreciate how nice and beautiful things look now, and do the final instance there. On Friday Night Fights, we ran the Battle of the Deep Way and the Earthwing to Fornost. And that went reasonably well all the way through there. Now, during that time, we are being told that, oh yes, next week is our level 50 characters night. But I don't have a level 50 character because I had absolutely no characters between level 25, a minstrel that was at 25, and a minstrel that's level 61. Actually, no, I think I had a warden and a minstrel both at 61, and I had nothing in between. And that meant that today I was spending some time taking that level 25 minstrel and seeing how close I can get to level 50 by next week, and see how far I can get. I've gotten up to 29 so far. So yeah, it'll be a bit of an uphill climb in order to get to level 50 by next week, because I think during the week I'm not going to have much time in order to do that. But I might as well at least make an effort to do so. And that finishes up my week in LOTRO. So let's then head into news beyond LOTRO, and we'll begin with a new poem by Dwarva scholar Grima Wormtongue. My words enchain the feeble mind of Theoden. Each day I find dark counsels to promote despair. Creeping old age makes the king fare much worse. Doting, decrepit fool. I hold the power. He's a tool I wield to rule behind a throne. My final reward will atone for all the insults thrown at me by these boars of the mark. That be mine enemies. The Wormtongue name me, son of Galmod. Much I blame this hard task entrusted on me by Saruman. Yet we shall see. To rule the mark, this prize I hope devoutly for. Well, I can cope with all the curses cast my way by Rohirrim, for as my sway increases over the weakling wills, whatever I want, thy king fulfills. I am chief counselor, his right hand. He but agrees to my command. I am at the acme of my rise. Soon shall I cast off my disguise of counselor. In my own right I'll reign. My goal is within sight. I have a feeling, though, the following day, Gandalf comes in and fouls up the whole thing.
Darn wizards.
Yeah, they just foul up there. You can't be an evil mastermind without Gandalf coming in and fouling everything up.
I know, right?
Yeah. Or even worse, he'll find some poor adventurer to send on the quest to do it for him. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you wish to support us without joining Patreon, you can send it to Drac at email to Drac's email at drac@lotrplayers.com. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotra Players at Lotra Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sandwinda at Sandwinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calabathian at Calabathian, and we still have no Twitter for Krister?
That is correct.
All
I'm
right.
hanging my head in the shade.
And the Players Alliance has 3 shows. On Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And XP Quest is back. You follow XP Quest on Twitter to find out when the show goes live. You can join the 4 shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf News reminding you to socialize responsibly.